Hey, Buddy Manning here, part 2 of the Garden Report. We'll go the other side, the Bucks. Let me just be honest here, Josue. So the Bucks win.
Let's be more positive here for these guys, right? Because they're the winners.
Yes, Bucks win 101-89. I was getting anxious all week, not only because Giannis Antetokounmpo and the defending champs were on the other side. I really fell in love with that Bucks team last year after the Celtics went out. So I have an enormous amount of respect for that team. But I also saw among the fan base a little bit of overconfidence coming into this one. Celtics in 5. I know a couple of us on the Garden Report panel picked them in 5.
From the fans, but yeah, I got you. I think John surprised you the most, but yeah.
Yeah, and people on the Twitter line in general. I hate to say the TL, but this team they're going up against, I think, showed tonight that they are a menace. Not only Giannis, who has ascended to a higher level passer and free throw shooter, jump shooter from the mid-range. He showed all those things here. But this team defensively, what they did against the Bulls in round 1 stood out. And they held them to under 100 points per, under 95 points per 100. You can say it's the Bulls, but that's impressive. And they did it again here today. The defense from that group was just outstanding.
I was expecting them to be that tough of a defensive juggernaut, but I didn't expect it to be that much. I didn't expect them to hold Celtics to under 90 points. And they could have, this a couple of plays here and there before Ime waved the white flag, but they could have held these guys to 80. You know what I mean? That's how tough they were. That's how stifling they were. And you could tell that they especially did their homework. I thought that when the Celtics were, in their offensive set, getting the ball around, doing what they've been doing, I felt like Milwaukee knew about it. You know what I mean? I feel like they were there jumping those passing lanes. They were there and getting in front of guys, making guys uncomfortable. That physicality did play a part. And that's the same sort of thing that we were hearing from the Brooklyn Nets, right? That the Celtics are being that physical. Well, I feel like they met their match on that end, on the defensive end of the floor. And now it's starting to translate onto the offense. And I thought that the Celtics did a good job of surviving the Bucks' runs throughout the second half. But when it came to the fourth quarter, I just felt like it was just too much to overcome. Now, I don't know if that's, I don't know if that's Milwaukee's defense just being more aggressive. But if you ask me, it was more of the Celtics just settling, the three-point shots. And it's easy to do that, especially when it was a 2-possession game. But I felt like that was sort of that was what you expect to see at the 4 or 5 minute mark. You know what I mean? I feel like the Celtics got a little too trigger happy, and the Bucks capitalized on that.
Well, everyone knew their role defensively for that group. Brook Lopez playing the drop did it extraordinarily. Blocking shots. Everybody's shot was getting met by Brook Lopez in there. Giannis helped position, big play of the game, either his alley-oop to himself or the block, rotating in on a play where Tatum really attacked Lopez good in the pick and roll there, but everybody was always in a good position, whether it was Wes Matthews with a timely double team, Drew Holiday playing the screen well, and Holiday's really a guy we overlooked.
Every time Wesley Matthews does that bow and arrow thing, it just makes me cringe. This is before the series. This has been going on for 2 years now. I don't know what it is, but
he hit big shots.
I can't stand it when he does it because he does it every single time. If he only did it for big-time threes, it wouldn't bother me as much, but I just want to get that out.
Bobby Portis falls over. You're going to get used to all this stuff. Giannis going to the free throw line. That group, they are well-seasoned. They obviously won a championship together, so everybody's going to be well-suited to playing their roles in that sense. But the defense of that group, I thought the Celtics might be able to expose it a little bit by shooting over it, but they fell into a trap by shooting too much against it. And there was a crazy stat. I think Kevin Pelton put it out there. Only 3 teams had, prior to tonight, shot or made fewer than 10 two-pointers in a game. Celtics were right there up until the end. They ended up getting a 10 in garbage time. But for most of this game, the Celtics were completely shut out of the mid-range and the basket area.
Yeah, Celtics don't want to get into a shootout with this team, especially because the Bucks are – I can't think of another team in the NBA that capitalizes off of missed three-pointers than the Bucks. I mean, when they get out in open floor, that's when they can really kill you. And if you're not knocking down those shots, I mean, those runs can happen in a hurry. We saw it happen in Game 1. Guys like we mentioned, Pat Connaughton, Grayson Allen, Giannis every once in a while can make a 3 for you, Bobby Portis. I mean, they just have so many weapons that they can counter with, and I don't think the Celtics they're not equipped for that. There are stretches where we've seen the Celtics get hot from behind the arc. We've seen those open looks, but they have to find that healthy balance, Bobby. You have to make sure that you're still playing the basketball that got you here. Getting guys open looks and in the paint. High percentage looks. High percentage shots. The alley-oop to Rob is always encouraging, but I feel like he's still working his way back to the Rob that we grew accustomed to before the injury. But man, can you imagine if he didn't get any games in that first round matchup? I mean, things could have been much tougher for the Celtics. So I want to see how he bounces back in particular against the Bucks. But also, it'll be interesting to see how the Bucks execute on offense in the sense of, getting other guys their shots. And
Giannis getting himself going.
I mean, Giannis bouncing back from a poor shooting night. I mean, look, for someone like Giannis to not get to the free throw line like 15, 16, 17 times, like that's a good thing in one way. Also because he was, couldn't hit shots from the floor, but he gave you a triple-double. He made everyone around him way better, including Drew Holiday, who I thought was the MVP of this game. So, I mean, that's what he does. That's why he's such a special talent, and the Celtics have to be ready to combat that.
Are the Bucks favorites in this series now?
That's a great question. Man, I would say they are, honestly. I mean, you sold home court advantage. Again, if you're up 2-0, I mean, Sherrod said if Celtics lose, he thinks that they'll lose the series. I mean, I don't blame him for thinking that. Me personally, I don't think so. I think the Celtics, if that does happen, obviously you have to respond in Milwaukee and take two. I mean, we've seen series that go to distance. That's a lot of them happen like that. 2-2, but. Yeah, it'll be tough. But right now, I would say after game one, yeah, Milwaukee is definitely the favorite. But I still like the Celtics' chances. I'm not going to hold on to my original prediction, which is Celtics in 5, but I still like the Celtics' chances in this one.
It's going to be a longer series if they're going to do it now for sure. I'm holding out hope to win them in this one.
You got 6, right? You still holding out?
I had 7.
Oh, you had 7. That's right. You had 7.
Brown said you don't win a series with one game. We've been up one game, we've been down one game in series in the past, and that's certainly true here. Celtics, if they're going to bounce back, it starts Tuesday night, game 2 between the Celtics and Bucks. TD Garden here. Tuesday night, we'll be back. Practice tomorrow. Stay tuned to Celtics All Access for updates from that. And of course, go to HelloFresh.com/playoffs16 for 16 free meals and 3 free gifts for Josue Pavon, Bobby Manning, and Celtics postgame show, The Garden Report. We will see you tomorrow.